yeah, it's not like I was kidding about how, you know, how the conglomerate makes me feel. You know, I mean, it's just, and I was talking about that the other night when what was it, a couple nights ago, right? But, you know, I started to think, first of all, this is great. Look at that box of oil, A709. That's fabulous. Yeah, but, you know, I mean, it's just, look at the experiences that I've had in hospitals. You know, the past couple hospitals that I've been in, look at what has happened to me there. You know, I mean, I spend all of my time there getting harassed and having to lie about how nobody's harassing me, and possibly even being videotaped, depending on where it is, you know, and then being threatened with all sorts of like really harmful medication, right? And so, and then there's also, so it's just, I mean, it's if you are like about to kill yourself, really truly are about to kill yourself, and it's not just because you happen to be feeling particularly strongly because you're going through something that is yet again totally outrageous and something that should not be happening to you, and is disrupting everything that you're trying to do, try to, like, you know, do productive things with your life. You know, if you are absolutely genuinely truly like at the verge of suicide, then yeah, you know, being locked up somewhere is probably it's not a good option because of how bad those places are, but at least there it is. You know, it's harder to kill yourself in the hospital than out of the hospital, although people still do it. People still manage to do it. You know, they're just so hopeless, and then being in the hospital doesn't make them feel better. When it happens, it happens. People kill themselves in mental hospitals. They do. It happens, right? So, but I was thinking about it. I was like, you know, the last couple times I've been in the hospital, it just kind of got worse and worse from one time to the next. It was, you know, a very close call the first time that I was there, and the second time, you know, I really did have side effects for days after they gave me that. I was harassed by a doctor, right, at the Lynn Hospital, right? I was, and then other staff were harassing me. I mean, it's not like they hadn't been harassing me before, and it's all the same story all the time. Oh, nobody's harassing you. You're just paranoid. You're just difficult. Blah blah blah, right? Until I finally, you know, got upset. But there, you know, I didn't hurt anybody. I didn't try to hurt anybody. I didn't threaten to hurt anybody. I mean, there were patients there who would like throw chairs. You know, that happened pretty frequently. You know, once a week or so, somebody was throwing chairs, and that they didn't necessarily get dragged off and injected, you know, in front of a bunch of people, but I did, right? Because I am particularly singled out for vicious behavior. It happens to me all the time. And I had side effects. I had side effects for days. I needed extra cogentin. You know, I wanted to educate yourselves about these situations before you just continue to just pound on me all the time. And, you know, that stuff can be permanent. I was like, you know, I kept involuntarily like biting down. My jaw would just clench and I would bite my tongue. That happened over and over and over again. That was pretty painful. You know, it was just, there was like other muscle stiffness, and that stuff can be permanent, and has happened to many mental patients over the years, that they are permanently disfigured by, especially repeated injections. You know, if they're just repeated, and that's the kind of thing that can happen to you, you know, if you're subjected to it a lot. So I was thinking maybe I would like take my time before I show up at yet another emergency room and say, why don't you put me in the hospital? So what I did instead was I took pretty much all the money that I had hoped to save this month, and I spent it on the hostel. Right? I stayed at the International Hostel in Boston. You know, it was $75 to stay there, and that was the beginning amount of money that I had put in a savings account last month, to which I had wanted to add like an automatic debit every month of $35 just to try to start saving money. You know, and probably I'm gonna have to close that account. I mean, there seem to be so many emergencies in my life, you know, that forced on me by other people, that I don't even know when it is I'm gonna be able to save money. But that's what I was trying to do. I hoped to save that money, but I ended up having to spend it instead because I just had to. I just didn't have a choice. And last night I stayed at the Pine Street Inn. I mean, it was freezing yesterday. It's still cold now. I mean, I absolutely had to buy a long sleeve shirt for like, what was it? It wasn't even $20, you know. But then that was pretty much the rest of the spending money that I had for the rest of the month. I mean, the other money that I still have saved has to go towards transportation and laundry, you know, because I had paying for laundry, and that's it. You know, I have a couple of dollars left after having had, you know, more than 100 at the beginning of the weekend, which I had to spend on dealing with this emergency that I'm being put through. You know, I mean, so it's just, you think, yeah, I like to enjoy my life when and where I can, but that doesn't mean that I just like, you know, am kidding when I talk about the way the conglomerate makes me feel. or that I'm just like an irresponsible person, or that I don't ever, you know, I mean, I tried to work, you know, I tried to work last year, and you ruined that for me too, twice, you know, and I'm going to be running out of the deadline for submitting a report about that, and just, I just can't even get to, you know, talk about a race, I can't even get to the starting line. You know, I'm just dragged back from that over and over and over and over again by all the stuff that's just totally without any sort of value whatsoever. Just leave me alone.